To tell this tale, we must go back through all the ages of the earth, back many moons to the fateful night of December 23rd, 2022, when her eyes feasted upon the most magnificent thing she had ever seen. Not a soul could have known this was the serendipitous night that would change the life of but one relatively short girl, whose years so far numbered only 14.
That's me! And yes, I'm walking the red carpet. Why? Let me explain.
Let's go back to 2020. COVID-19 filled the minds of all, but to my family it was a chance. It was a whole lot of time to do every creative thing we wanted to do but never had time for.
At this point in time, I wanted nothing more than to become a full-time YouTuber. I spent a lot of time thinking, and eventually Vanessa and Frederick was born.
A little TV show about a dysfunctional pet doll couple. And yes, you can still watch those videos on my channel. I was so incredibly proud, I thought I was already at the ultimate level of filmmaking.
Cut me some slack, I was only 11. I worked on this little show for about a year.
And I made 12 episodes. I even made behind the scenes videos of the staff who produced the show. Eventually, I got sick of it. My videos were getting less than 30 views each, and I was getting frustrated because I couldn't see why people didn't enjoy my cinematic masterpieces.
Looking back on them, I realized my editing was sloppy and my stories had no plot. So, I gave up. About 6 months later, I discovered animation.
I was a very low-skill animator, but I do still think one or two of my animations are entertaining. Especially one about a cat testing how many times he could die. I kept animating for a few months, but eventually lost motivation when once again I got almost no views. Now we are up to December 2022, when my little 14-year-old self watched Lord of the Rings for the very first time.
I was enchanted. It literally changed my way of thinking.
I watched the trilogy 12 times that year.
Lord of the Rings is a rare level of creation. Even hearing the name makes me want to do nothing but create. It sounds very dumb, but I had to express my newfound love for the trilogy in some way. But how? Painting. I started painting.
Some of you might have watched my portrait challenge. At this point, I had no art skills at all, so I challenged myself to paint 50 portraits.
I'm still only up to number 43.
If I'm being honest, the only reason I started this challenge was so I could paint the Fellowship of the Ring. My first portraits were obviously horrible. I painted my little sister, and it unfortunately turned out a little scary. But I kept going until I reached a level where I was happy with every painting I did, and I made videos about them. Like I said, I started painting portraits to express my love of Lord of the Rings, but I quickly realized this wasn't enough to scratch the itch.
So I thought, what better way to express my undying love for Middle-earth than to recreate Hobbiton at a tiny scale?
So I made a Bag End Nook book, and a second Hobbiton book nook, and half made a Nazgul book nook, and a Tom Bombadil book nook. I absolutely loved making these.
I was getting closer, but it still wasn't enough.
One day I was lying in bed thinking about Lord of the Rings, like any normal person would do, and it just came to me. The only way I could scratch the itch, the only way to express this need for creativity, this love of Lord of the Rings, is to work in the film industry. I could be a concept artist? No, that's not enough. A scriptwriter? No, I'm too much of a control freak to let someone else direct a script I've written. An actor? No, that doesn't feel right. Oh, I know what. I'll be a Peter Jackson. He writes his own scripts, directs them, everything. Yeah, I like that. A director.
So there we have it, the long tale of how I decided to become a director. So what did I do about it? Nothing. Not a thing.
I think it was fear. A fear of not being able to measure up to my own expectations. To not be able to reach the bar I'd set for myself. I hid behind the excuse of, I want to be the best I can at filming before I start making short films.
So I worked on my filming skills.
I started making reels for my church's social media.
Now we're up to December 2024.
I knew I was skilled enough at filming to start making short films. So now I use the excuse, I don't have any ideas for a short film. My dad, who's also a filmmaker and is behind the camera right now, told me, I have loads of short film ideas I can give you. So I used the excuse of, but I want it to be my own idea. Christmas time came, and in the holidays I watched my second biggest inspiration for the first time. This time a TV show. A Man on the Inside, directed by Michael Schur.
The old desire to want to create came right back. I was desperate to make a film.
I wrote on my goals for January, make a short film this month, and actually do it, you lazy bum.
The first week of January passed. Oh well, I got weeks to do it. And the second week went by. It's fine, don't worry. And the third week. And the fourth. Suddenly it was 10 p.m. on the 30th of January.
I opened up my bullet journal. I'd completed all my other goals for this month, except one. I picked up my phone and messaged my dad. I'm gonna make a short film tomorrow, and if I don't, can you make fun of me, please? Okay, my dad said. I thought of a short film idea. That's too basic. Come on, be original. But at least it was something. So I took out Google Docs and wrote a script.
It was short, but it was something. Some of the scenes needed to be filmed in the dark, so I filmed them that night and went to bed at 2 a.m. I woke up at 7 a.m., ready to create. I started to film and I got all the shots I needed within a couple hours, so I sat down to edit. At this point, it was midday, and I was going out at 4. I had 4 hours to edit a full short film. Well, it was only about a minute long, but still.
I worked away as quickly as I could. Oops, I forgot to film establishing shots. I grabbed the camera and ran outside and filmed a few shots in a few minutes, then went back inside and edited them in. 3:45. It's finished. I named it Tipping Point.
I did it! I made a short film in less than 24 hours.
As James Cameron says, make a film. Now
you're a director.
I'm a director. It was a small achievement. It wasn't actually that much work to make this film, but it's still a film. What's it about, you ask? Creative block.
Life went on, and I forgot about my film. I made another film with some of my friends. We call ourselves Clanduno Productions, but that name takes too long to explain. The film we made was a medical mockumentary called Beware the Zoomies. We had a lot of fun filming, but eventually forgot about that too. Until February. My mum told me about a short film contest she'd heard of, called the Interfilm Awards. Do you think my film is good enough to enter though? I asked her. Of course it is, she said. I thought about it. What did I really have to lose? So I said, Hellheimer.
Watch the movie Tolkien if you don't get the reference.
And decided to enter. I entered Tipping Point and the film I'd made with my friends, Beware the Zoomies, an unsolved mystery.
I did accidentally miss the entry deadline due to a software malfunction, but it was probably my fault since I re-exported the film 8 times to fix small changes. My dad called Interfilm, and luckily a lot of other people had had the same issue with the website, so they extended the deadline by 12 hours. And we managed to enter both of the films.
After that, I forgot about the contest. I forgot on purpose, because I knew otherwise I'd be checking my emails every 3 seconds to see if there was news.
I was filming an Easter show tour across 18 schools in Manchester. That's another long story. And was staying with friends.
The same friends I'd made Beware the Zoomies with.
I hadn't seen my family for 2 weeks when my mum texted me and asked to FaceTime.
When I asked why, she claimed there were family friends at our house who wanted to say hi to me. So I called her. I knew she was talking nonsense when I turned around and my friend's parents were standing by the sofa recording me. My mum claimed that she received a weird email and began to read it out.
Congratulations, the shortlisting process has been completed and we're delighted to let you know you've been officially nominated for an Interfilm Award for your submission Tipping Point. That means you're invited to join us at the Interfilm Award ceremony at the Odeon Luxe, Leicester Square.
And that's the short film that I made in half a day.
Yes, and we're delighted to let you know you've officially been nominated, Araminta Stewart and Cole Kendall, for an Interfilm Award for your submission Beware the Zoomies, an unsolved mystery! In the best film category, 16 to 19.
My brother Jessity was sitting right next to my mum when she told me the news, but I was so desperate to be able to tell someone that I called him and yelled, "I'm nominated for an Interfilm Award!" So there we have it. In June, I will travel to the Odeon in Leicester Square, walk the red carpet, meet celebrities,
Andy Serkis, aka Gollum, was there last year.
And if I win, I'll be presented with a trophy on stage by a celebrity, be interviewed on the news, and meet the representatives of film companies like Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal Pictures, and Lucasfilms.
The best part is, both my films are nominated in different categories, meaning there is a chance, though highly unlikely, of winning twice. Tipping Point is nominated in Time for Action, raising awareness for issues in the world. The topic in Tipping Point is doom scrolling and the death of creativity. And Beware the Zoomies is in Best Film 16 to 19. If you click this link here, you'll be brought to the list of nominees where you can watch both films.
That brings me to my final point. For another category was made. Sorry, I went into Lord of the Rings mode again.
There is an 8th category, Audience Choice, which is exactly what it sounds like.
From the 6th of May, people can vote on social media for their favourite film.
The sponsor of this category is Universal Pictures, and whoever wins gets to meet the representatives of the company, which would be huge for me.
So it would mean an absolutely massive amount to me if you could click the link and vote for Tipping Point. It only takes a minute to vote, but it would mean the absolute world to me. When you think about it, this film took me 5 years to make, so... Thanks for watching! Bye!